We have just 8 more days till we're back to hell, Sabrina fans, and the latest trailer for part 3 has just dropped, so we're going to take a deep dive to figure out what exactly is in store for us this season, and explore just how the hell, oh my puns are terrible, Sabrina will save Nick. A few days ago we got a music video trailer that also had some fresh new clips from the season, so if you haven't seen my breakdown for that, check it out in the link in the description. And just a reminder before we get started, I'll have a huge part 3 ending explained and part 4 theory video coming out shortly after the release, so make sure to like and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as it comes out. So let's get into it. Our first shot is of the Welcome to Greendale sign, which we've seen in previous seasons, but what sets this one apart is the procession of vehicles in the top right. Now I think this is the arrival of the carnival. We'll see some more shots of this later on in the trailer, but one of the storylines in part 3 centers around a tribe of pagans looking to resurrect an ancient evil, and what's cooler than a group of pagan carnies? It's hard to make out here, but we have Sabrina in front of a painting of what appears to be a castle next to the sea. This most likely takes place at Dorian Gray's bar, which we saw last season, which you can tell by matching the wallpaper. We also know later on in the trailer Dorian makes an appearance, so it's likely Sabrina has to get him out of the painting. But more importantly here is the voiceover of Lucifer, her father, who says she must claim the throne of hell in order to save both Greendale and her boyfriend Nick Scratch. Of course this has other implications. Since Lucifer is trapped within Nick's body, it's likely that if Nick were to be saved, so too would Lucifer. Here we have Lilith, formerly Miss Wardwell, in a shot we saw briefly in the music video trailer. Lilith has taken over as Queen of Hell, as we can see by her crown, but this will be short-lived as a new contender, Prince Caliban, will be introduced in a bit. Now this is a very interesting shot. Harvey has his arm around Roz, they're even holding hands, but check out the background. Not only are Ambrose and Prudence holding hands, but it appears they're all at the Witch Academy. Mortals in the Witch Academy? Unheard of. But judging how everyone is happy here, this seems to be after they've had some sort of victory. We get a recycled shot of Nick imprisoned, which we saw in the last trailer, as it cuts to Sabrina's eyes turning crimson red. Now when you combine this with Lucifer's voiceover proclaiming what she must do, it's likely Sabrina here is either being given a vision of what's happening now or in the future, or this is allowing her to talk to Nick, which I'll get to in a bit. The main story this season is all about Sabrina having to go to hell and take over as queen, but as we'll uncover later on in the trailer, there are plenty of obstacles in her way. Some more shots here of the denizens of hell. Judging by their attire, this seems to be some sort of high court. But this is really what I want to talk about. The robe and platinum hair suggests this is Sabrina ready to take on her role as queen, and if you see right before it cuts, all the members of hell are getting ready to kneel. And here is Prince Caliban, the new villain of part 3. Since Lucifer is trapped and Lilith has gotten what she wants, aka being the Queen of Hell, the show needs a new antagonist. He is a Prince of Hell, sculpted from the clay of Pandemonium. Pandemonium being the capital of Hell, so it's likely all these shots take place here. Sabrina is having night terrors, which the editing suggests she's been visited by either Caliban or this dude. It's also possible this creature could be connected to the ancient evil the pagans are trying to resurrect, which I lean more towards that than it being Lucifer, as we'll get into some more clues of this later on. The next few shots center around Sabrina and Baxter High. Roz and Harvey are concerned that this whole hell thing is starting to take its toll on Sabrina, but she says it's not hell, it's Nick. We see Sabrina in front of the gate of hell in the Greendale mines with Harvey behind her. It seems as though she's found a way to open the gate, but it doesn't work. If Sabrina is going to get to hell, she'll need to find another way in. And I've heard a few sources say there's a backdoor to hell which will come into play this season. Another shot of our imprisoned Nick, which in my last video I suggested this red cape here is Sabrina's. This is followed by another shot from the music video trailer of these bodies hung up like scarecrows. In the other trailer we know Roz, Harvey, Theo, and Sabrina make it here, which might be some sort of purgatory or limbo. But notice the raven. I can't help but think this could possibly be Lilith's familiar, Stolas, keeping an eye on Sabrina and the gang. Even though Stolas was killed earlier on, with Lilith being the Queen of Hell, it's entirely possible he could be brought back in some way. And it's even more evidence that the next shot is of Lilith as Queen, likely before she is usurped by Caliban. The voiceover here also comes from an older adult male, possibly Blackwood, but I'm not sold on it. He proclaims that the worlds of heaven, hell, and earth are off balance. It's only until Sabrina Sabrina takes her rightful place as Queen of Hell, that balance will be restored. We'll later get a shot of Lucifer, who also tells Sabrina that being queen is her destiny, which she needs to embrace. Here we have Sabrina in this beautiful white dress with a crown of flowers, a fitting change since she'll soon be wearing a crown of bones. It looks as though this is her first time meeting the pagan carnies. Now, I also got a big Midsummer vibe here. I won't spoil that movie, but it does involve pagans who have weird ceremonies during the summer solstice. Plus, they all wear white in that movie, just like our characters do here, leading me to believe this part of the season deals with the summer solstice. And it looks like it would line up with the show. The beginning of part 2 started with the winter solstice and progressed into spring, so having part 3 occur during the summer is totally within the realm of possibility. Teleporting Sabrina! Now correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never seen Sabrina teleport in this manner before, and the flames suggest she's arriving from hell, with some bad shit happening at the Spellmans. The clock that falls here does so at exactly midnight. We get this shot of Sabrina at her desk, crying, perhaps thinking about Nick, as it cuts to this ancient tome. The hands here are definitely not Sabrina's. My guess is that this is someone from hell who helps Sabrina give her information she needs to save Nick, and I can't help but think that these three characters in the drawings are indicative of Lucifer, Lilith, and Sabrina. We have this shot of Lilith beside the throne, and if you look closely, her crown is off to the side. Could this be right around the time she's dethroned? And here's our first shot of cheerleader Sabrina, so it looks like she's not only Queen of Hell, but has time for extracurriculars. She tells this unknown figure that Hell is under new management, which is totally a Sabrina thing to say. We have this shot of Sabrina unveiling herself under this cloak, which matches her meeting with Caliban, which we saw earlier. She has a blue cape here instead of red. Could this be because her red one is with Nick? We have this young chap using his nails to write in blood, "I will not bite my nails," over and over again on the chalkboard. It seems we may be going to some sort of demon orphanage, or limbo, or purgatory, especially since the next clip is of another child getting his hand sliced off. This is one of the coolest shots of the trailer. Sabrina in this desolate wasteland, skulls on sticks, and a cross in the distant background. But what I'm more curious about is what Sabrina is holding here. Now, it's too covered to tell, but it's likely being brought out to this cross. Now, there's a big fake out here. Ambrose asks Sabrina if she wants to do this, as we cut to Sabrina in a different outfit saying, "Can you help me?" It's more likely she's asking someone else this, as I believe Ambrose for much of this season will have a separate storyline with Prudence revolving around fighting Lord Blackwood. This is a badass shot with Prudence displaying her dual blades with Roz and new character Robin in the back with the red cap. According to his character description released online, he's described as a romantic interest for Theo who has an elfish quality, is a mischief maker, and arrives with a carnival and is potentially dangerous. Judging by this photo, he's decided to side with the witches, but we can't count out a betrayal. Notice also Roz's shirt, the Fright Club, which is the name of the band she's in with Harvey and Theo, which we saw in the music video trailer. This shot also suggests that Prudence, Roz, and Robin come to save the witches from the pagans, or it could potentially be Lord Blackwood. We have this quick shot of Theo, Roz, and Harvey, and judging by the background, it looks like they make it to hell. Now this shot looks like it could be Robin. Perhaps this is the dangerous aspect the description was talking about. Either way, it seems to be one of the pagans with his body being taken over by plants. Some cool cutting here as we get this circular ceremony here paired up with the cheerleaders in a circle, and could that be Roz in the middle? We now have a new character, Mambo Marie, a voodoo practitioner who appears to be working her magic at the Witch Academy. We saw Ambrose and Prudence enlist her help in the music video trailer, and it just so happens we see them getting hot and heavy in the next clip. And it could have something to do with them performing their own ceremony, judging by this weird doll and candles. In the other trailer, we get a better glimpse of it. Here we have Caliban putting on the crown as King of Hell with members of the High Court celebrating. He tells Sabrina if she wants the crown, she'll need to prove it, and she punches that crown right off his smug face. Aunt Zelda scolds Sabrina, saying being Queen of Hell isn't a summer job, and that her seeing Nick puts the coven in danger. This is followed by a few shots we've seen before of the pagans arriving at the Witch Academy, followed by Sabrina visiting Nick. Now the thing that has me Nick scratching my head here is that this doesn't look like hell, more like the dungeons of the Witch Academy. And perhaps it is, and they need to keep Nick chained up, surrounded by what seems to be a circle of salt for his own protection, and to keep Lucifer at bay until they can find a way to save him for good. Here we have what appears appears to be the Satanic Church and two of our witches who you may not remember from previous seasons, Elspeth and Melvin, who seem to have a bigger role this season. They are visited by Lucifer in his goat form, but just how exactly this is possible is still not certain. Here we have Nick telling Sabrina to forget about him. Notice how everything is red. Could this be what she's seeing here? The pagans arrive in front of the witches, and I'm wondering if this is supposed to be some sort of peace offering or shared meal between the two, rather than the pagans interrupting them. Here's that shot confirming Dorian Gray is back, and the Spellman's calling upon some higher power, perhaps for help against the pagans. Now we have our first shot of Theo and Robin on a Ferris wheel, looking like they're on a date. The red cap is really unusual, plus he's wearing it at night, so he's likely hiding something underneath there. Sabrina kisses Nick, perhaps a goodbye kiss before she goes on her final adventure, and I think this also confirms that's her red cape. Here's a quick shot of some hands from hell banging on the table, but that figure in the top right looks a lot like what Lucifer was wearing last season. We don't know who this person is, but it seems like someone bowing to either Lilith or Sabrina, but our next shot tells us a lot. We have Lilith off to the side as Sabrina is being prepared to be queen. Is this what we saw her wearing earlier? Here we have the three wise demons, I'm pretty sure happy and taunting Lilith, who's just been overthrown as queen of hell. I think it's a great dynamic that Lilith, who is one of the main antagonists the last two seasons against Sabrina, is now teaming up with her. This is a pretty cool shot, and I wonder if this is that backdoor to hell that's been teased. Here's our only shot of Salem so far. We still don't know if he'll talk yet, but it looks like we're near the carnival judging by these flyers, and this shot here of Sabrina unleashing a world of pain to this pagan near the carousel. We have our first look this season of the return of Lord Blackwood with a totally new look. As I theorized in the last trailer, he spent most of his time in the Shetland Islands of Scotland, and who is that behind him? It's a bit hard to tell, but it looks like Agatha, one of the Weird Sisters. The next shot also happens to be her tied up in a straitjacket. Here we have Nick having escaped his confines, beating up this bearded man who we haven't met yet, followed by Lucifer vomiting out a ton of beetles. Here's Hilda using a puppet like a voodoo doll to contort this unknown woman, followed by Miss Wardwell being choked by vines. Remember that the real body of Wardwell was returned to normal last season when Lilith left her. Take a look at this foot here, stepping on what appears to be a metallic step like you'd find on a carnival ride. I'm guessing this is the same creature we saw at the beginning, and this is what the pagans are trying to resurrect, and also what's causing the choking for Wardwell. Oh, and a great shot here of Sabrina and Nick escaping hell, followed by the doors to its main entrance closing as they try to escape. It looks like Sabrina will make it out, but it's too close to say if Nick does as well. The last shot is of Aunt Zelda chiding Sabrina on her exploits in purgatory and hell, even hinting what's next, heaven? And judging by how hell-centric this season seems to be, I wonder if that's where we'll be going. Will this season tie into angels and a battle between heaven and hell? I can't wait for this upcoming season, so make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned when I come out with my big Part 3 ending explain video and Part 4 theories. I want to hear your thoughts about what might happen in the comments below, and feel free to follow me on Twitter for more updates at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
Hell's under new management now.
I'm the devil's worst nightmare.